First, the headlines. The eastern province of Constantine is getting ready to celebrate the start of the event of Constantine, capital of Arab culture. The FCE presents a document containing several innovative steps aiming at boosting national economy and expanding the forum's activities to the four corners of the country. And Egypt and Saudi Arabia agree to form a joint military committee to discuss a grand maneuver strategy on Saudi territory. Hello ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Dzair News and welcome to this English News edition. First, in our top stories, the eastern province of Constantine is getting ready to celebrate the start of the event of Constantine, capital of Arab culture. The residents of Constantine are aware of the responsibility entrusted to them to be up to standards, at the same time expressing their discontent regarding the delay and neglect of renovation projects. Hints Minaras.
A race against time and a wide activity witnessed in the province of Constantine since this morning, prior to the much-anticipated inauguration event of Constantine, capital of Arab culture, celebrated through parades that will cruise the city. Inhabitants' feelings varied between those complaining about the event and those welcoming it. The antique city of Constantine will embrace an Arab cultural melting pot.
They're only renovating and painting what can be seen from the outside. Go look on the inside, nothing is ready yet.
We're on a race against time to get ready on time here in Constantine, to be up to standards and honorably welcome our guests. Cultural Palace Mohammed Laid Al Khalifa in Constantine, the cultural facility that witnessed major renovation, and it too is being put on the last touches only a few hours before the grand opening, although footage show otherwise amid officials' denial.
You can see the finishing touches, the last moments before the opening in the presence of Prime Minister. We're ready.
Sirta, the bride of the East, is running out of time before welcoming the foreign audience tomorrow. Alas, the situation is far from being perfect despite all the reassurances.
Foreign Minister Ramtan Lamamra on Wednesday said the stage reached Tuesday in Algiers, where Libyan party leaders and political activists met for a second dialogue session, was mostly certainly promising. Algerian Foreign Minister greeted all Libyan figures and representatives who came to Algiers, their second home country, to calmly and serenely discuss together the requirements for national reconciliation and the building of democratic institutions to allow Libya putting an end to a painful experience. The second dialogue meeting for the settlement of the political and security crisis in Libya wrapped up Tuesday in Algiers with a significant progress. In the thorny shale gas issue, protest movement seems to have returned in the In Salah area, southern Algeria, where local residents blocked the highway number 1 as they closed the northern entrance of the town to demonstrate against the ongoing shale gas drilling operation in the second gas well. The local residents also stopped working trucks from entering the restricted area. Representatives of the demonstrators spoke earlier to Dzair News and stated that the protest movement, staged after rumors spread on social media, said that the state-owned company Sonatrach began drilling for gas in the second well. Moving on now to the educational sector, the National Union of Workers will stage a 3-day strike starting from the 27th of the current month, whereas other unions have set the 5th and the 6th of this next month to stage strikes, as well as staging a sit-in outside the premises of the Ministry of National Education in a bid to claim their socio-economic claims. Minister of Trade Amara Ben Younes confirmed on Tuesday the freezing of his instruction on alcoholic beverages selling. The minister was keen to recall the context of this case and denounce manipulation lobbies. Hence Menaras.
In his first reaction concerning the controversy surrounding his instructions to license selling alcohol beverages, Minister of Trade Ahmad bin Yunus stated that he's the target of a foul campaign. He also backed his decision, saying that Algeria needs to regulate this field to put an end to this illegal situation. In his words, the minister, and during his visit to the radio Channel 1, said that he's neither a man of religion nor an imam, asserting that he's only a minister of the Algerian Republic. He also added that what's more important is what's legal and what is not. The minister stuck up for import-export licenses granted to regulate the parallel market, a strategy that is much needed, according to him, to liven up the national economy, saying that it's a mechanism of the National Trade Organization, allowing countries who want to restrict freedom of trade to go through these license procedures. Concerning foreign currency in the parallel market, bin Yunus has briefly said that the government is currently looking for solutions to change the present situation.
In economy-related news, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, released a report on global economic outlook in which it forecast a 2.6% economic growth for Algeria in 2015, before rising to 3.9% in 2016. The IMF advised oil exporting countries to reframe their budget consolidation plans in the medium term. More details in this report. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, forecasts a 2.6% economic growth for Algeria in 2015 before rising to 3.9% in 2016 against 4.1% in 2014. In its latest assessment report on the global economic outlook, published this week coinciding with its spring meetings scheduled from the 17th to the 19th of April in Washington, the IMF has revised downward its GDP growth forecast for Algeria compared to last October's. In its forecast published 6 months ago, the Bretton Woods institution forecast for the country a 4% growth rate for 2015, with a difference of 1 percentage points compared to its new estimates. Moreover, the IMF said that Algeria's current accounts balance will remain negative to stand at minus 15.7% of GDP in 2015 and at minus 13.2% in 2016. Concerning employment, the fund noted that unemployment rate is expected to sit at 11.8% in 2015 and 11.9% in 2016 against 10.6% in 2014. As for inflation, the IMF estimates that it is expected to hit 4% in 2015 and in 2016 against 2.9% in 2014. In its analysis on the growth prospects of the Middle East and North Africa, MENA oil exporting countries, the IMF noted that facing the sharp fall in oil prices, most oil exporting countries of this region need to reframe their budget consolidation plans in the medium term. The Heads of Enterprises Forum, or FCE, held what is described as one-of-a-kind meeting today, where its members presented a document containing several innovative steps aiming at boosting national economy and expanding the forum's activities to the four corners of the country. Lamia Ashush was there and brought us this report.
The FCE, or Heads of Enterprises Forum, in its one-of-a-kind meeting today, discussed and adopted what its members described as revolutionary steps in a long and comprehensive document that will be presented to Prime Minister Abdelmalek Sallal for approval shortly. The document mainly aims at elevating national economy through strengthening the role of the private sector in Algeria. In this scope, the FCE announced the implementation of its new slogan, a guaranteed national product, a move to incite Algeria's private sector to double production in order to revive national economy.
Pour permettre to
allow the Forum to expand its activities in all provinces and to contribute more decisively in a more dynamic manner, we have decided to assign delegates in the provinces to represent our Forum in all provinces of the country.
The other major steps undertaken by the Forum is assigning representatives in 38 provinces of the country, an attempt to decentralize the Forum and render it more effective.
Notre pays se trouve devant la nécessité impérieuse de s'organiser.
Our country is facing the urgent necessity to organize itself in order to rid of its external dependence. The proposals made by our forum in this document aim at coming up with a decisive step towards achieving this objective and emerging our national economy.
The FCE described today's meeting as unprecedented, in a way that steps have been taken towards adopting a new strategy for the forum specifically and national economy generally. However, these steps are still awaiting the government's approval to be duly implemented.
In the same context, FCE Vice President and prominent businessman Mehdi bin Dimrad said that the meeting was very fruitful and expressed hopes to promote national economy through the FCE. Let's take a listen.
Today we had a very good meeting. We have new delegates inside the whole country of Algeria, so the 48 provinces, 48 wilayats. These delegates will give their feedback, to the local organization in Algiers in order to advocate what they have, in the field, what the problems they have in the field. And this is very important to have this feedback. If we want to change things, on the economic policy, we need to have the feedback of what happened in the whole economy. So this is important also because these people would create more jobs and would be more efficient, and that's what we need for our economy. We need to be efficient. So in order to be efficient, we need to know what exactly happened in the whole situation and the whole country.
Moving on to world news, Egypt and Saudi Arabia agreed Tuesday to form a joint military committee to discuss a grand maneuver strategy on Saudi territory. The maneuver will see the participation of a joint Arab force from the two countries along with other Gulf states. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with Saudi Arabian Minister of Defense Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud Tuesday, reviewing the latest developments of the decisive storm military operation. Two eminent members of the American public, Hillary Clinton and Marco Rubio, have announced that they would be running for election during the 2016 U.S. federal election. Both candidates have begun campaigning, and Maher Mzahi gives us the lowdown on both of their strategies.
On April 13th, Hillary Clinton formally announced her decision to run as a presidential candidate for the 2016 U.S. federal elections. Her announcement came by medium of a video ad which was released on her official website.
I'm hitting the road to earn your vote because it's your time, and I hope you'll join me on this journey.
The former First Lady of the White House has now begun a trip around the United States of America. She'll be speaking to Americans of all walks of life. This week will be spent in the state of Iowa, where she is scheduled to speak to community college students and business owners. Barely 24 hours after Clinton officially launched her campaign, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, whose parents are Cuban-born, also announced that he would run in 2016.
Do these things, the American people will create millions of better-paying modern jobs.
Rubio told donors that he felt uniquely qualified to pitch his party as one that will defend the American dream. Rubio breaks the Republican politician stereotype, and many believe he has the accessibility to appeal to the middle class.
To me, it's something that hits home. Being from the same generation as Marco, my parents came from Cuba in the 1960s as well, and it's to me, I'm proud that a Cuban American could run for president.
Jeb Bush, the brother of former U.S. President George W. Bush, Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin, and Senator of Kentucky Rand Paul are the other Republican candidates that will contest the primary. The representative of both the Democratic and the Republican Party will be revealed next summer, ahead of the elections that will take place in the fall of 2016.
In science news, earlier this year, an Italian surgeon announced that he will be attempting the world's first human head transplant. That despite the hurdles, a human head may actually be attached to another person's body in 2 years. This week, a donor was introduced, but according to at least one expert, this might be facing something that is worse than death. The full story in the following report.
It's heady stuff. The world's first attempt to transplant a human head will be launched this year at a surgical conference in the US. Some call it insane. One describes a fate worse than death. But for a 30-year-old Russian man whose muscles are wasting away, it is his last shot, as he is terminally ill. The idea was first proposed in 2013 by Sergio Canavero of the Turin Advanced Neuromodulation Group in Italy. He wants to use a surgery to extend the lives of people whose muscles and nerves have degenerated or whose organs are riddled with cancer. Now he claims the major hurdles, such as fusing the spinal cord and preventing the body's immune system from rejecting the head, are surmountable, and the surgery could be ready as early as 2017. The procedure, which is estimated to take 100 surgeons around 36 hours to complete, will involve spinal cord fusion. The head from a donor body will be removed using an ultra-sharp blade in order to limit the amount of damage the spinal cord sustains. The key to this procedure is the sharp severance of the cords themselves, with its attendant minimal damage to both the axons in the white matter and the neurons in the gray laminae. The spinal cord of the donor body will then be fused with the spinal cord of the recipient's head. Chemical can be used to encourage SCF, according to Dr. Canavero. The muscles and blood supply will then be sutured. Dr. Canavero says that the recipient will be kept in a coma for around 3 to 4 weeks, during which time the spinal cord will be the subject to electrical stimulation via implanted electrodes in order to boost the new nerve connections. The surgeon estimates that with the help of a physical therapy, the patient will be able to walk within 1 year.
And finally, to wrap it up, 3 matches were pushed to midweek because of 3 Algerian clubs will play CAF Champions League matches tonight. Al Almas, Dzair and Bel Abbas were victorious last night in their respective fixtures. Maher Mzahi brings us the details.
3 matches from the 25th match day of the Algerian Mobilis Premier Championship were played last night in anticipation of the 3 Champions League matches Algerian sides will play this weekend. MC Al Ulma triumphed away in Algiers against NA Hussein Dey. USM of Algiers suffered a shock defeat in Bel Abbas, effectively ruling them out of the title race, and ES Setif bounced back on track with a win against GS Kabylie. Goals from Hammami and Qara put Al Ulma out of reach at the 20th of August stadium. They managed 4 points from their 2-match road trip in Algiers, which the assistant manager deemed positive.
Yes, because we are the only people who think about our opportunity to get the 4 points up. Understand? Because people don't accept that. They have to know that it's football. If you believe, you can do everything.
In the other 2 matches, Benyetou and Youssef Ghazali scored for USM Bel Abbas and ES Setif respectively. Both wins were extremely important for either side. Setif remained in touching distance of league leaders Amo Bajaya, and Bel Abbas managed to climb out of the relegation zone. All 3 clubs may now focus on their CAF Champions League fixtures. Al Ulma hosts CS Sfaxien, USM of Algiers hosts AS Kaloum, while ES Setif are away in Morocco to Raja Casablanca.
The end of our English news edition. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.